Hello, boys and girls. Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody's doing super awesome, fantastic, whatever way you can use to describe your day in a great way. I hope you are feeling that way. Today is January 20th. Can you believe that we only have 11 more days until the end of this month? And we are already almost through the first month of 2021. All right, let's go ahead and get started with ELA. So, for this entire time, we have been talking about point of view and perspective. And today, we are going to continue that. So, our essential question is, how is my point of view different than that of the characters or narrators in the story? What we're going to do today is we are going to listen to our vocabulary rap song about point of view. Like I said, the very first day, we're going to listen to this every day. Today is also going to be one of those days where we just practice our skills. So if you were face-to-face or if you were virtual, this is the same assignment that we would do either way. We're going to read a passage called Can't Sleep together, and then we're going to answer the questions. And in the questions, I'm going to, after reading the passage, I'm going to model how to find the point of view in a passage and compare your point of view to the characters in the story. Think about what I say when I mean compare points of views or perspectives. Think about the book that we read yesterday, A Tale of Two Beasts. How are the point of views different? How did the squirrel and the little girl have a different perspective of what their day was like? And then finally, you are gonna complete a passage and answer some questions on your own in Canvas. But let's get started with our vocab video.
Every story has a narrator, and every narrator has a different point of view. Which point of view is yours? Let's go! Everybody wants to know my point of view. First person is me, second person is you. Third person is he, third person is she. Everybody wants to know my POV. Everybody wants to know my point of view. First person is me, second person is you. Third person is he, third person is she. Everybody wants to know my POV. Hey yo, knock knock, who is there? Narrator, narrator, who? Narrator, who wanna tell the story from a point of view? Every story's written in a certain voice. When you're writing, you need to make a choice. First, second, or third person, POV. The first person is all about me, or we, like we climbed the tree. I closed my eyes and I felt the breeze. I might be unreliable if I don't tell the truth. Now let's switch the point of view to you. In the second person, you're in a taxi. You're wondering how you got there exactly. The third person is he or she. He walked down the street and he saw the queen. She was just hip like it wasn't a thing. That's the third person, take it from him. Third person narration could be objective, omniscient, or from a limited perspective. Can the narrator seeing everyone's thoughts? Narrating omnisciently like a boss. Everybody wants to know my point of view. First person is me, second person is you. Third person is he, third person is she. Everybody wants to know my POV. Everybody wants to know my point of view. First person is me, second person is you. Third person is he, third person is she. Everybody wants to know my POV. All right now, check your notes. Tell me which POV is in each quote. I was born with water on the brain. That's first person. He looked up into Father Wolf's face and laughed. That's third person. We didn't always live on Mango Street. That's first person. So we closed the eyes and lay quite still. That's third person. Your feet are now stuck in green slime. That's second person. In the hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. That's third person. It made me so sick I almost fell out of the tree. That's first person. You're thinking this wasn't the way it was supposed to go. That's second person. My name is Katniss Everdeen. I'm 17 years old. That's first person. Everybody wants to know my point of view. First person is me, second person is you. Third person is he, third person is she. Everybody wants to know my POV. Everybody wants to know my point of view. First person is me, second person is you. Third person is he, third person is she. Everybody wants to know my POV.
All right. So, is it stuck in your head yet? I hope so. because we're going to continue listening to it.
Every
All right. So, like I said, today is going to be one of those days where we just practice our new skill that we've learned. So, let's start with our passage, reading it. And remember, when you work on these passages, you have all of these annotating tools here. So when you find your answer, you can come back and you can underline, highlight, or circle whatever you need. So let's start reading. Can't sleep. The hands on the clock. Oh, I have to move myself off. Oh, I'm going to be on Sean's bed. The hands on the clock that Sean glanced at struck 8 p.m. It was time for Sean to go to sleep so that he could be fully rested for his first day of third grade tomorrow. Sean predicted that he would have a hard time falling asleep tonight. He was so excited about the first day of school. When his mom came upstairs to tell him good night, she told him that although he may not be able to fall asleep quickly, he still needs to lay in bed and try to rest. So, Sean hopped into bed, hoping and praying his busy mind would drift off to sleep. Sean laid in bed for a little while before he started getting restless. He stared at the ceiling, he stared at the wall, and he stared at the moon. Every time he tried to close his eyes, they popped back open. Sean needed to try a little bit harder to get some sleep because staring at the walls was not working. This sounds like me when I go to bed. I stay up all the time. So, Sean tried to count sheep in his mind. He got to 35 and got distracted with thoughts of school. Sean tried counting backwards from 200, but as soon as he got to the number 92, his brain started thinking about school again. Sean decided tonight was not going to be for sleeping. He wished it was morning time now so that he could meet his new teacher and see all of his classmates. All right, so we have a couple of questions that we are going to need to answer in order to understand this story. So let's go see what our questions are. So the first question says, is the story told in first person? Is the story told in first, second, or third person point of view, and explain? So right now would be a perfect time to pull out your anchor chart that we made together last week, and boom, pull out your anchor chart because this is going to help you. You wrote keywords on this anchor chart, and they are going to help you decide whether it is first, second, or third person. So the next question says, what are two things that Sean tried to do in order to fall asleep? The third question says, what is the character's point of view on the first day of school? The fourth question says, what is your point of view for the first day of school? And then the last question says, are your points of view the same or different, and explain? So let's start typing. All right. So this says, is the story told in first, second, or third person point of view? Well, if I'm looking at my anchor chart, I am going to try to find first person in the story. Does the story say anything about Sean talking? Does Sean say things like, I can't fall asleep, or we have our first day of school tomorrow? No, Sean is not talking in this story. So it can't be first person. If it was second person, the narrator would be talking to you. Is this telling you about your first day of school? No, so it can't be second person either. This is going to be third person. So in complete sentences, I would write, the story is being told in third person point of view. Now, I'm not finished answering this question. It says explain. Explain how you know that this story is written in third person. Well, for one, the narrator is not part of the story. The narrator is just basically looking out of the window and telling us what is happening. So the narrator is not part of the story, but they are telling us all of the things that are going on in Sean's life. We also know by looking at our anchor chart that they use some specific keywords. So the author also uses words like, well, the author uses words like um, him and he and Sean's name, and we learned that those are all part of third person. He, him, I'm going to make them lowercase. He, him, and Sean's name. All right. So my first answer is typed in a very complete sentence. All right, let's go to question 2. So question 2 says, what are 2 things that Sean tried to do in order to fall asleep? Well, we can go back and we can find that in our story. And when we find it, we are going to highlight it. So I'll go ahead and tell you that it's closer to the bottom because in the first paragraph, it just tells us about him hoping that he would be able to go to sleep. The second paragraph tells us what Sean did to try to go to sleep. So it says Sean tried to count sheep in his mind. But he also tried counting backwards from 200. So Sean tried counting backwards from 200. So we can type those 2 things. So 2 sentences, excuse me, 2 things that he tried to do. So 2 things that Sean tried to do to fall asleep are counting sheep and counting backwards from 200. And I answered the entire question with a capital letter at the beginning and a period at the end, so it's a full sentence. So this is, what is the character's point of view about the first day of school? Well, why can't Sean fall asleep? Well, he can't fall asleep because he's super excited about the first day of school. Have you ever been super excited about maybe something that was going to happen the next day and you just stayed up all night? I do that before the first day of every school, before the first day of school every year. I did it when I was a kid. I did it now that I'm a teacher. I just get so excited to meet my new students and all of that. So, Sean's character, Sean's point of view about the first day of school, Sean is very excited about the first day of school and can't even fall asleep. Now, what is your point of view about the first day of school? My point of view about the first day of school is I also get very excited about the first day of school. So I'm going to say my point of view about the first day of school is that I also get very excited and can't even sleep. Maybe yours is like, I get super nervous or scared about the first day of school. That would be your point of view of the first day of school. This last question is comparing my point of view with Sean's. So this says, are your points of view the same or different? And explain. So our point of views are the same. But if I just type this, I'm not finished with my answer because it wants me to explain how they are the same. Sean and I both get very excited about the first day of school, and we can't fall asleep. Period. All right. And now I have answered my last question in a complete sentence. So you guys are going to get to practice this today as well. So when you get into your Canvas, you are going to go to your ELA or your reading tab, or first you're going to go to your homeroom, excuse me, apologize. You are going to go to your homeroom. You're going to click reading. You will click Wednesday, but for this video, I'm just going to click modules because it's not linked yet. And you're going to go all the way to the bottom, and when you get there, it's going to have today's date on it. It's going to say 1/20/21, point of view / perspective. When you click it, you're going to read your directions. It says, click the gray box below to access today's assignment. On slide 1, you're going to be reading a passage about a boy who gets a new baby brother named Oliver. On slide 2, you're going to answer the 5 questions about the passage. Please make sure you go back to the passage to find any answers that are in the passage. All right, on question 1, after you answer all the questions, you're going to hit the blue submit button. Let's take a look at it. So you're going to be reading this passage called My New Brother. After you read it, you're going to answer these 5 questions just like we did together in Can't Sleep. So the 5 questions that you're going to answer is the story told from first person, second person, or third person point of view, and explain. What kind of vocabulary is being used in here? Is the narrator talking? Is the narrator part of the story? Are they saying things like my, I, we, us? Are they using those keywords? Then you're going to say, what is the narrator's point of view on Oliver? Or how does the narrator feel about the new baby Oliver? Then you're going to answer, what is the older sister's point of view of Oliver? So how do they feel about Oliver? Do they like him? Do they not like him? Do they really want a new baby brother? How do they feel about them? And then you're going to tell me, how are the points of views between the narrator, the person who's telling the story, and the older sister, how are they different? Maybe the narrator likes the baby brother. Maybe the older sister does not like the brother. So you're just going to tell me how those are different. For this last question, it's going to be asking you, which point of view would you agree with more if you got a new baby brother? Would you agree that maybe you liked the baby brother, or maybe you didn't like the baby brother? Would you agree with the older sister or the narrator's point of view more? All right. After you're finished and you have written everything in complete sentences, the last thing for you to do is to click that submit button so that your teacher can provide feedback for you. All right, boys and girls, have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.